Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Sounds good. And no problem for you, right? Everything's okay?
Yes, everything is okay.
Okay, great. Have you taken IELTS test before?
Yes, I have taken like 3 years ago. Three
Oh,
years
okay,
ago,
cool.
yeah.
So you ready to get started?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Mhm.
Okay. So first, please introduce yourself and tell me about what you do.
Yeah, okay. My name is Chen Hiu-Ming, as you can see, and at the moment I am working as a teacher. I was not a teacher by training, but I didn't like my major back then, so I quit my job and decided to become a teacher instead.
Okay, wow,
Yeah.
cool. Are you an English teacher?
Yes.
Cool. That's why your accent sounds quite good.
Yeah, thank
Cool.
you.
Okay, let's talk about politeness, okay? So
Yeah,
do you
okay.
think that you're a polite person?
Yeah, I do think that I am a person with courtesy. I mean, I was taught that way. In Vietnamese culture, we were taught to be polite to each other because we want to be treated politely in return.
Cool. Who taught you to be courteous and polite?
I think that parents, my parents and my grandparents, for example, when I was young, I was always taught to say hi first to older people, to elderly people, and also we always have to show respect to other people regardless of their age or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, why do you think it's important for people to be polite? Why should we uh, consider the things that you just said?
I think that well, it's very difficult because we were taught that way when we were very young. So we assume that is the norm. But I think that being polite is kind of important because we always want to be treated with politeness. If you treat someone with how to say impolitely, I think that you will receive the same thing. So it's a kind of a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah. And you're from Vietnam, right?
Yes.
In Vietnam, are there any particular ways that you can show that you can show that you're being polite or to be extra courteous to someone?
Well, for younger people, for young adults, to show politeness to older people, we always like say hello first. We
Yeah.
ask how they are doing, and also we usually nod our heads like this. Yeah, that's some ways to show courtesy.
Cool. Thanks. Let's talk about childhood. So
Yeah.
how was your childhood? Were you a happy kid?
Yeah, I think I was my childhood was full of good memories.
Great.
I mean, like any other child, I had to study a lot, but also I think that my parents also made room for me to have some extra activities, outdoor activities, like things like that. So I think that I had pretty good memories in my childhood.
Great. Um, do you have any particular memories? Like what do you remember the most from childhood, maybe besides studying, maybe?
Well, let me think. Well, one particular memorable thing was the fact that I was given like a whole collection of my brother's like books. No, not really books, like comic books.
Yeah.
To me, comic books were because at that time when I was young, when I was a child, my family was not very well off. We didn't have enough money to buy a lot of books,
Yeah.
textbooks, comic books, or something like that. So when I received like the whole collection, like the whole collection of books like that, I was like over the moon for a child like me. It was awesome.
Great. And what do you think makes a child happy?
I guess for any kid, I think even silly things can make them like joyous and happy. As for me, when I was a child, I could be very chirpy even when I received like candies, some good compliments. For other children nowadays, I think that there are sources of relaxation and pleasure might come from technology. I think. For example, my cousins, they are pretty happy when they are given some screen time, like watching TV or using tablet, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Thanks. Let's move on to part 2.
Okay.
So you understand the test, obviously, right? So you have 1 minute to
Yes.
prepare and try to talk for 2 minutes if you can.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Okay, let's get started. Here's the question. Describe a piece of technology you like using besides the computer. Which piece
Yeah.
of technology do you like? Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay. So to talk about the piece of equipment technology, I think that I'm going to talk about my phone. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was using the iPhone 6s, but but I carelessly dropped it and I broke the phone. So I had to switch to something a little bit better so that it doesn't mess up with my communication. So because I was intending to upgrade my phone, so I was heading to the iPhone X. So today I'm going to talk to you about the iPhone X that I bought just last week. So to the best of my recollection, the iPhone X is the flagship product of Apple, and it was unveiled like 2 or 3 years ago. I know that the iPhone X is a little bit out of my budget. It is not really budget friendly, but I do believe that it is a good investment. I mean, there are so many technology packed in this phone. So even though I was not ready financially to buy it, I asked I asked my parents to give me some extra cash so that I can buy it and I can give them later. To talk about the things that I love with my iPhone X, I think that number one, I am in love with the technologies offered. I mean, the number one thing that I am really into is the Face ID system. In the past, I used the fingerprint. I mean, it was okay, but now it is totally different. I mean, with the Face ID system, I can open the phone. I can unlock the phone like easily, and I think that the system works flawlessly. Also, I think that for this iPhone X, it is a nice upgrade because of the the design. It has a cutting edge design, way different from the previous phone that I had, and I am totally content with this kind of design. I think that it has the same size with the previous phone, but with a larger screen. So I have much better experience with applications.
Great.
And I think that when it comes to okay, thank you.
All right, that was more than 2 minutes, so that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the last part. We can have maybe more advanced questions and more abstract questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So, what do you think is the most common technology used by people in Vietnam?
In Vietnam, I think that smartphones are the most, the commonplace, the most ubiquitous piece of equipment. Yeah. Most people, especially the young, I think they tend to stick to the phone like all the time. When I go to the coffee shop, most of them, glue their eyes into the phone and not talking with each other. I think it's a not really a good trend.
So I think phones only really became popular maybe 15 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, around that.
So
around that.
What was the most common technology used maybe before phones? What do you think?
Before the phone, I guess TV. I think a TV was kind of dominant back then. Yeah. During that time I was a high school student, and I still remember that after school I always head back to my home and open and turn to some network. I mean channels like Disney Channel something, or to watch some movies and series. And I think that it was the same thing for my friends. For older people, for my parents, for grandparents, I think that they also they usually gathered around the TV during dinner to watch some TV shows with each other, and I think that it was great memories.
Yeah. I think people used to use the TV to get news information, right?
Yeah.
These days, maybe people will look more online to news. So,
Yeah.
do you think that, like either television or online, do you think one of them tends to be more truthful than the other? More accurate? What do you think? What about the differences between news from television and the internet?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the differences, I think that there are two main points. Number one, let's talk
Yeah.
about the speed. For TV shows, TV news, I think that they have to prepare they cannot update the news very quickly. For example, if something happens, it takes them like the whole morning to prepare everything. So I think that the TV loses when it comes to the speed. But on the other hand, for social network, for social media, I think that it is way faster. I can go online like Facebook or like online news to be up to date. So
Yeah.
that's one point. And also for the second thing, I think that the TV in Vietnam is kind of, how to say, censored by the government. I think that some sensitive information cannot be broadcast. So it is better to get something like more, how to say, anti-government, I'm not sure, on social media, on Facebook or something like that. But be careful because some of the information posted online can be false, can be unreliable as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. I think you just said that, families used to come together and watch the show maybe after their work or something, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that people or maybe families used to get together more often because of the television, and now these days everyone just kind of stares at their phone, like you said? Do you think that people are more antisocial because of phones and new technology?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I do think nowadays we have, it seems like everything is way more convenient. We have everything available, but it seems like we tend to be more antisocial. In the past, a lot of families, they gather together, they watch TV, and also when they watch TV, they had some quality time to talk with each other. They comment on the same thing. They had the same interest because they were watching the same TV show. But now, even though they have dinner, they tend to they tend to spend a lot of time on their phone, and they don't talk much. So the lack of communication can be a great barrier for them to be really in contact with each other.
So I've seen, staying on topic, I've seen some studies recently that shows that young people are getting diagnosed with mental illness more often, and that some people say this is because of using social media too much and always comparing themselves to others and stuff like that. Do you think that's true? And one more other point I want to ask you about is some people say that this is affecting especially young girls more than men, more than young boys. Do you think that would be true? And why do you think this is?
Yeah, okay. So to talk about the mental problems that we are facing nowadays, I do think that one of the culprits should be the social media. I think that when we surf the internet, especially social media like Facebook or Instagram, we tend to be very jealous of other people's lifestyle. For example, when I open my Facebook news feed, I tend to be kind of like envy with my friends, trips to their trips to other countries. I feel like I am inferior or something. But I think that other people will feel the same thing because Facebook is made so that people can share the best moments in their life, not the downs, not the struggles that they are having. So that could be one source of depression for most people. And I think that for the people that are most vulnerable, I don't think gender has anything to play. I think it can hit both, girls and boys. I think that maybe age tend to be more like deciding factor for younger people, for younger children. They don't have, how to say, they are not very well aware of everything around them, so they tend to compare everything. for older people like me, like my grandparents, although they know that there are some kind of differences between people, they have better lifestyle or something, but they do not care much about those. They have their own life, they have their own schedule or something. So I think that they are not very influenced by social media like younger teenagers or adolescents.
Yeah, okay. Great. Well, I think that about wraps it up then. We only have a few seconds left. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
If all my students were like you, my job would be easier.
Okay.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
All
Nice
right.
to meet you too.
Bye-bye.